Fantastic. I made it back in time. I went and got my water bottle here. Have you seen this yet, Cara? Did I show you this?
Yes, you showed.
This is the cool, it's got a gemstone inside it. I got it I feel like it's somewhat camping and outdoor related, right? Because you maybe don't find it in that shape in nature. But it actually turns into mineral water inside it. So I feel like you should be careful what kind of gem you put in it, so it's not poisonous and stuff. But welcome everybody to another episode of MC Fireside Chats. My name is Brian Searl with Insider Perks. We just lost Terrie. She'll hopefully come back here in a second. We've got Cara with us, Cara Csizmadia, as always, from the Canadian Camping and RV Council. Here's Terrie back joining us, and she is the general manager, right, Terrie, of Camp Cedar, which is in Mason, Ohio, basically right attached to Kings Island, which is a really huge amusement park there. I know I grew up, actually, Terrie, in the Cleveland, Ohio area, and so we used to go to Cedar Point all the time, had season passes and stuff like that. I think I went to Kings Island once, but it was like 5 hours away from me. It's down near Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, we're about 20 miles north, on 71. So, our sister park, Kings Island sister park, is Cedar Point. So Ohioans are a little spoiled, I think, with having two great theme parks to go to.
Oh, 100% we are, yep. I remember when we were first starting Insider Perks, we weren't a marketing company for campgrounds. We were doing videos kind of in the beginning of the travel blog phase. And so we actually went to Cedar Point, worked with their PR person, did a video of the whole park and stuff. I think half of it's outdated and the rides are gone now, but it was still fun and interesting. And yeah, I love going to Cedar Point, and can't remember what their Castaway Bay, is that their water park up there?
Castaway Bay, right. And so we need to get you back down to Cincinnati again and have you stay with us so that you can experience the southern tip of Ohio again with all the new coasters and offerings that Kings Island has too, as well as Camp Cedar.
I want to do that. So I was thinking, again, Cara and I have talked about this briefly, right? I think we should do some live shows from campgrounds at some point in the future as we continue expanding, right?
Yeah.
So we can actually walk around, to talk and dive into some accommodations and stuff. We're going to try to do a really cool live show in 2 weeks that's unrelated. We'll see what kind of a disaster that turns into and then how we can go first. But yeah, so Terrie, tell us a little bit about, obviously we're going to focus here on Camp Cedar in the beginning. A brand new luxury resort, multi-million-dollar. We've talked about where it's at, but kind of just give us a brief intro to what is Camp Cedar.
Camp Cedar is a luxury camp and cottage resort. We have 164 full-service campsites where our folks are enjoying coming to both of our pools here. We have a family pool, which I think you can see a little bit of behind my shoulder. And we also have an adult pool for those that are over the age of 21 that likes to be a little bit closer to the bar and be able to enjoy that later in the evening. We also have 73 cottages that sleep anywhere from 4 people to 8 people. And I have to tell you, since the minute we've been open, those have been busy, if not full completely. And our guests are really enjoying kind of getting the camping feeling without actually going to the RV and making that purchase for the first time. So we, along with our 2 pools, we also have an area that you can see a little bit behind me too. It's called Belize Street. And Belize Street is an area where our guests can come in the evening time. We have some entertainment that's out there. I call it a little bit of little guitar, little soothing music in the evening time. And there's a 3-sided bar there called the Beach Box. There's also 3 other containers that are actually shipping containers that we've made into food trucks. One of them is called the Fresh Tortilla, which is Mexican food. A little bit of guacamole and chips and salsa and quesadillas and tacos. The other one is called Route 66, and that's kind of our all-Americana food. It's my comfort food, burgers and fries and hot dogs and French fries. And then we have the 3rd container that's called the Urban Cow. Again, one of my favorites. We have key lime pie, dipped ice cream, and cookies and cream ice cream, and all the vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, mousse crunch. We also have
Can we just fly down there now, Cara?
Oh my gosh!
Can we go?
Why are we there?
Soft serve ice cream. We have we make funnel cake fries there, so again we can put all kind of ice cream and syrups and everything on top of that. So that area is really fun for our folks to be able to go to the pool, stop over on Belize Street, get a snack or a meal. And then we also have a 9,500 square foot lodge. And in that lodge, there's a full service restaurant and a full service indoor-outdoor bar. We also have the Great Grand Room, which is floor to ceiling fireplace. It's beautiful. with TV surround, so we can watch, a Reds game or a Bengals game or NFL hockey game, whatever, the Olympics. We've been watching those over the past week, which has been kind of fun. It's also an area for folks to kind of gather. So if you're here on a family reunion, big family, a sports event, everybody meets kind of in that area. We also have a camp store, which is our 2,000 square foot store. And in there, you can get groceries if you forgot, something for your cottage or for your RV. We have an RV shop in there. I'm learning a lot about RV parts, which I never knew before, but things that the RV person might need that they might have forgotten. And then we also have a gelato and dry bean area. So coffee and gelato store there with breakfast items and big homemade cheesecakes in there too as well that we're serving for folks. And then the last bit of our lunch.
Here?
Why are you there?
How long does it take to get there? Can we get there before the end of the show?
I can't fathom why anyone would leave once they got there. You have all the things.
Yeah, it's fun. And then our welcome center is the first area where you come into, where we greet our guests and get you checked in. And, if you would like to rent a golf cart, we can supply that for you there. And then we also do transportation back and forth to Kings Island. So we have a lot of guests that come here that want to stay for 2 or 3 days, a couple days with us, and a day over at the park too as well. So we transport them back and forth to make it a little bit easier for them. So it's kind of a inclusive, if you will. And folks can stay here for 2 to 3, 4 days and really have a good time with their family.
Now, is Camp Cedar owned by Kings Island, affiliated with it, or just kind of nearby and you work together?
We are a management team that manages the facility. There's a group of investors that actually own the property and have hired Kings Island and Cedar Fair to run and operate it because, they realize that hospitality part is not their specialty, but they really do love this facility. It's kind of like a dream come true for them.
I can see why, yeah. I mean, one of the things that interests me is as we've gone through, part COVID and part before COVID, we've always seen this trend in more people wanting to get outdoors and enjoy it. And we've seen in the last 4 or 5 years, larger investment groups and management groups come into the space. If obviously when you think of theme park and going to a theme park, historically speaking, right? When I was growing up and Cara was growing up, we were going and we were staying in a hotel nearby. There wasn't really, if there was a campground, it wasn't high end, it wasn't luxury, it wasn't comparable to the hotel. So do you know what kind of pushed them to go in this direction with this property versus a hotel?
I think that Cedar Fair actually has both, right? So they have it at Cedar Point. I think you've been there before, Brian. They have a huge campground facility, and that Lake Erie's right there. So it's beautiful to wake up and come out of your camper, and there's that beautiful lake that's there. But they also manage a lot of hotels there. The Hotel Breakers is there, and several other ones that they have. So I think you'll see Kings Island. This is kind of their first toe in the water after, they used to have a campground that was much smaller, more primitive, way back in the day. And this is kind of their way of tipping their toe in the water, if you would, and saying, hey, this is really adding to our attendance and also adds to our ability to, manage something else at Kings Island. So I think you'll see more of it in the future.
Well, and I think it really helps attract a broader range of demographics to, the area and all of the obvious amenities there by offering different types of accommodation like that. So what we're finding here is these folks, a lot of grandparents, a lot of grandparents are having RVs, and so their families can stay in a cottage, come over and visit grandma and grandpa in the RV or vice versa. So they get a chance to stay with them, maybe not be in the same place with them all the time, but I think we afford an opportunity for families to get back together. And I got to tell you, the day that we opened, we were all on the balcony cheering for guests as they were coming in because it felt so good to see folks back together again, and we hadn't seen that for a while. Yeah, I bet.
So what are some of the, and actually before I ask this question, let's just show your B-roll here. I've got a little, I think, minute video clip, and that way we can give people some visuals of what this park looks like, and then we can talk more about it, okay?
Yep.
All right. So just a little bit of B-roll, a little bit of taste inside. You can see, like, I mean, it's really. Can you tell us how much it costs? I feel like that was in a press release I read somewhere. So I feel like it's
And the estimates that I've heard is around $30 million.
Yeah.
So
this is not something you just decide to do overnight and invest a couple million. Like, this is really thought out and really planned and well researched. And did you look at some of the other RV parks either in Ohio or around the country, luxury wise, to decide and form what you're going to put here?
Really tried to take the best of a lot of different things that we have seen and heard, and tried to make the cottages even better than what we've seen. You know, our cottages look like something I like to describe out of HGTV mini home kind of series that, you know, it's not the dark wood or a cabin look. They really are mini homes, and we call them cottages versus cabins because they're just beautiful on the inside. So our guests are really enjoying kind of having the experience of being away from home, but still having those home amenities with them. You know, the microwaves and the refrigerators and full stoves and dishwashers and, you know, being able to fix food for their family and actually, you know, stay in if they want to too as well.
Absolutely. Those things are super important when you're traveling with kids. I'm sure that demographic is hugely represented there. Can you tell me how long from like development phase through to opening phase was the project?
They started building in 2020, right after we got out of a little bit of the snow. So around the March timeframe. So it really did take about 15, almost 16 months to get us up and running. And you know, we'd still like to have a few more things that we're still waiting on to get installed, but we really wanted to get open this summer so folks could get together. So there'll be a few more things that we'll be able to bring on as we get moving forward.
Are you gonna tell us those, or are they still top secret?
We'd like to add some amenities for folks. Like we have a dog park that we have scheduled. You know, RV folks, I didn't realize how many folks actually bring their dogs with them, but I'm a dog lover, so it's hard for me to drive around the resort without stopping and petting the dogs. So we want to put a little dog park in so the dogs can get a little bit more stretching area. We'd like to put in, again, more shade. One of the things in hurrying to get open, we didn't get to put in our big funbrellas, you know, the huge, big, wide umbrellas around the pool. So we'd like to get that. And then we're also looking at installing another 100 cottages over the next couple phases so that we can get more folks in here to enjoy what we have, as well as, you know, design those cottages for what we're hearing from our guests now of what they'd like to see.
Do you think that as you put in those cottages and expand, and maybe this is just going to be speculation on your part for now, but do you think you'll vary them at all? Like, we've seen this glamping trend obviously take off across the country, well, the world really. And I've been looking, especially in the last couple of days, Cara and I have seen, we've been watching just some more news than we normally do because this is our news show, right? And we've seen all kinds of just article after article in Europe and Australia and everywhere else about these unique, like, glamping pods and hanging tents. And we actually covered it a little bit on our show yesterday or last week. Do you think you'll vary those cottages at all and kind of try to provide more? I mean, they are beautiful already, but just unique experiences?
What we've heard from our guests so far and been talking a little bit with the ownership is there are huge families that really want to get together for family reunions, or, you know, companies that may want to get together and have maybe their own section of 8 or 9 cottages to where we could, if those could be like more of in a pod to where when they're coming out, they're with their own family, not, you know, alongside somebody else. So we're talking about doing a little bit of that. We've heard a lot from, you know, soccer teams and baseball teams and whatever, how we could have places for them to warm up, have places for them to have activities for the kids. So, gosh, Brian, I've been doing a lot of listening over the past several months of what folks would like to see, and then we just have to figure out how that fits in and how we can best accommodate the groups that we have coming in. But I do think there's something there with the big families and, you know, trying to make sure we can pod them together, and maybe they come out at night and have their own s'mores in the center, or, you know, have their own kind of, you know, dinners in the center, whatever we can do. But that seems to be something that's been mentioned to us several times.
Yeah, and you're on the right path. I mean, that, like, we know that, Cara and I know that from being in the industry so long. It's really just listening to your guests, and then you're obviously not going to execute on everything, and there's obviously finite budgets and other details that go into the planning, but just listening and hearing what people say is, you're almost guaranteed success.
Yeah, Terrie, I'm interested. Do you have experience with RV parks in the past, or is this your first rodeo?
I have not been a camper before. I know that my family camped when I was very young, and it was one of those little high-low roll-up trailers that 4 of us fit in very tightly. But I have learned more, I think, about RV and campers in the past 6 months than I expected to. And then even learning just from the guests. I mean, they will help you. These folks do this for a living, and they travel around, every weekend, or they travel 4 or 5 times a year. And we've met folks that that's what they do, is they're staying in their camper. They're homeschooling their kids. They work from their campers. So they kind of have a different need than a vacationer. So, gosh, I have notebooks full of suggestions that we've gotten and comments that we've gotten that, we have to sit down and go through and see what's best, how we can best accommodate them.
Yeah, no, that's it's so interesting to see this shift in the full-time RVer, but you're right, they're incredibly passionate typically about their lifestyle choice, for sure, and always happy to share in my experience.
I just pulled up your website here. I just wanted to take a look at some more pictures and stuff so we could look through it as we talk to you. But I mean, that right there, like, that's what obviously draws your eye, right? The bright blue, like, landscape pool. Like, obviously, like, most campgrounds have pools. At least the ones that are higher end, luxury, have been built more modern and recently. There's some sort of pool, but it's very rare, I think. Would you agree, Cara, that, I mean, obviously there are places, and they are growing at a rapid pace, but it's very rare to see something like that landscaped and detailed and integrated and unique. Would you agree? Or?
Yeah, I would 100% agree. I think here in certain parts of Canada, a pool actually is pretty rare, but there are, of course, parts of this country that do it really well, but that level of kind of resort style amenity pool is rare. I gotta say, it looks incredible.
Yeah, we're seeing it here a little bit up close. So I think that's an artist rendering, but I'm sure it obviously looks pretty close to that.
It is an artist rendering. It is very close to that. You'll see some of the funbrellas that I talked about that we need to go in, and again, we're going to add a few more kids splash areas in there too as well. You see a few more of the bubblers than we have. But the other thing that we found too on our website that people really enjoy is they can select their own site. So if you go on our website and you want to book to stay here, and you've decided that you really want to be close to the pool, instead of just calling and talking to a reservationist, you can actually go on site and pick your own site.
Right. Yeah.
So again, if you're traveling with other people, you have 2 side-by-side RVs, or you have a cottage and RVs, you can go in and pick your own site and where you'd like to be. And we found out that our folks now that are coming back and booking for next year, if they like their site, they're booking it early because they want to make sure that they get it with their family. So that's been something that our guests have commented frequently on.
Yeah, I will say it's not common to be able to select your own site like that. So that's
what? It's not available. Oh, here's one by the pool. Okay. Oh. I'm already planning my trip. So.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I really see that as almost an added amenity that can be a sales feature to a potential guest, right? If you're competing with a park similar to you, offering them that ability to kind of pick where they get to stay could be, the thing that makes or breaks, makes the decision for them where they go. So I really like that angle for sure.
Right. And as you click on it, I think what he's doing there is it also tells you what what comes with that. So it'll be like, maybe it's a hickory and it sleeps 8, and it tells you what the amenities are there. And we found that some folks want to be near all the action, and some folks really don't want to be near the action. They want to be more back in the back of the park where, they can enjoy their privacy and bring their golf cart up when they want to be with the group, but also then have some time away from the group and be able to, just enjoy their own campsite.
Yeah.
I want to stay in a pirate ship in the middle of the pool. Can we do that?
We can build you a big floaty.
Yeah.
That'll work. I mean, I'm happy to bring my own pirate ship with me if that's necessary. But
Yeah, you might have a lot of kids that want to come play with you, but as long as you share, you'll be good.
That's fine. We can split the profits. I can rent it out to the kids. 50-50
There we
split.
go.
Split the profits. Wow.
I will also tell you that one of the things we've heard back from our guests too that they really enjoy is we have an entertainment group here, and these are some of our college kids that are working, and the old-fashioned things that I grew up on, water balloon fights and three-legged races and hula hoop contests, and we have Jenga set up here, we have cornhole, we have bocce ball. So we're trying to do a lot of things that bring the family together, and just have a good time with them, that are items that are not something that we're being charged for. It's just trying to get the kids to have fun and burn off some of that energy that they might need to burn off before going to bed at night. So, bingo, story time, there's all kind of things that we've been doing with the kids, and we've really gotten a great response from the parents from that.
Well, and those things are just going so far above and beyond like what you see in your standard park that it really makes things makes it worthwhile for guests to kind of spend those extra dollars and things. There's a lot of tangible value that comes from offering those kinds of add-ons that feel really almost nostalgic like that and connected, which I mean aren't a huge drain on your staffing resources and things like that, but really take things to the next level. Geez, that place is gorgeous. Is that
That's a cottage. Is that a cottage?
Yeah, that's one of the cottages.
All right. Can I live there?
That's what I said. It's more like what you're seeing on the HGTV on those mini home type things. They're beautiful on the inside. The countertops are beautiful, and again, they're for the most part fully equipped. So and if we don't have something in there, then our guests are telling us that gosh, you forgot a corkscrew, you forgot a can opener, you forgot whatever. So we listen to them and go back and try to meet their needs. So
I'd like to have a couple beer taps so I can have some IPAs on draft. Can we put those counter room there?
You know what? And eventually we'll get to the point where before you get there, if you'd like to order that, we can probably have that nice and cold in your room for you before you get here. That's a future plan that if you could go on the website and order your bacon, your eggs, your beer, your chips, and all that could be in your cottage before you get there.
So Terrie, on Brian's note about wanting to live there, what's your kind of maximum stay duration? Do you have one, or are you seeing folks stay for an average amount of time already? I know it's early days yet.
Yeah, our length of stay right now is between 3 and 3.5 days. Okay. We do have some folks that have asked us to be here for long term, but right now with the township that we're in, folks could only be here for 90 days, and then we'd have to say goodbye to them for a period of time before we could see them back again. Mm-hmm. But we're seeing vacationers right now. We haven't really had a huge request or push to have somebody here longer than a week or two at this point.
Are you operating year-round, at least the cottages and things?
We are operating year-round. Our cottages are built with heat and air conditioning, so we can flip the switch and be here. Kings Island has Winterfest. I don't know if you guys have been there for that or not, but it starts at Thanksgiving time and runs all the way through New Year's. And the park transforms into this magical, beautiful winter landscape. And they have skating on the Royal Fountain, and they do all kind of Christmas caroling and crafters and shopping and shows. And there's some rides open too for the folks that, still have to get their ride time in. But it's absolutely beautiful. So we already have folks that are booking to stay with us even on New Year's Eve so far this year.
Who built your cabins?
It's a company called Lakeside, and they're out of the south in the Georgia area. So these had to travel. They had to travel pretty far to get up here.
Yeah,
I've just never seen, we've seen a lot of cabin manufacturers. I've just never seen something like this before. Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking at, I think this one is a sycamore, I think that you're looking at right there. Yeah, so really big windows, queen beds in all of them, and queen sleeper sofas. The bathrooms are pretty large, I think, for these facilities. But our guests are really having a good time walking in, and I think it exceeds their expectations when they think of cabin versus cottage.
So these units were all transported in. They weren't assembled on site.
No, they were transported in, and we had to add some. We added the pictures and the beds and the tables and things that are movable, but everything else came all put together. The owners went down and made selections of the wood and of the amenities they wanted to have in them, and then had them built and shipped up to us.
Amazing! Wow.
That one you're looking at is a mulberry. That's a 2-bedroom unit. So it's 2 bedrooms and 2 full baths.
Wow.
And then it has the kitchenette and the table in the middle.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember and again, I'm sure that there are resorts like this that we just haven't explored this far in depth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I can't remember something that looks quite like this as far as the interior of a cabin. Lots of nice cabins, but not specifically like this with the decor themed in such a way and matching and all that kind of stuff.
It's really, really well done. I think it brings that kind of uniqueness for sure to Cedar. There's obviously some branding stuff going on there too. It's really great. Really well done.
And it's great that we've gotten to get our interior pictures. I mean, these are all pictures that were taken here on site.
Oh wow!
Just a month ago, and so it's nice to have so folks can actually pick the room they want and know what it's going to look like when they get there. So these, again, we're taken from our marketing team and be able to use in the B-roll.
That's awesome. So, sorry, Terrie, you said you've been open for just only 3 weeks?
We did have a few weeks that we had to cancel reservations. I hate to say the word COVID because I think everything gets blamed on COVID, but just getting materials in here to complete projects was a huge problem for the construction company. So we did have a few delays and didn't get open until July the 15th. So again, we've only been open. This is our, I think, 3rd full week of being open and receiving guests. So, we're looking forward to, seeing them again this fall. We have some guests that have stayed here twice and are coming back for their 3rd time in October. So we're excited to get folks here.
Amazing.
Now, are these stock or are these actually from the campground?
Those are stock photos there.
Okay.
Yep. We'd love to have some of those huge big trees and will in the future, but planting trees in July has been a little tough.
Time to grow. We know. Yeah, we've worked with a lot of parks and development from the ground up. So.
Yeah.
Well, the timing. Yeah, you can't plant them in July. But I'm confident it's going to be incredible. This was actually something I was going to ask: is do you have packages with the local amusement parks?
Yeah, talk to us about this because this is something that we've been trying to push some of our clients to do. Like we do marketing for about 300 campgrounds and RV parks, Terrie, and so we've been trying to push people towards this as a revenue enhancement package. So tell us a little bit about these.
It's been good to be able to partner with Kings Island, obviously, because we're part of Kings Island's management team. But being able to provide the tickets here and partner with them and bus folks back and forth, whether it be a 1-day, 2-day, 3-day, or 4-day, has actually helped our length of stay and the spending within our campground, as well as helped Kings Island too as well. We hope to expand on that package and be able to also, work with the zip liners that are around and the golf courses that are around, and also then provide our own food packages in there too. So you don't have to worry about fixing breakfast in the morning. You can buy your breakfast with us, and it could be part of the package. So we have a long way to go with our packaging, but I really do think that if folks can pay for it up front and they know that it's there, it's one less thing they have to worry about on their vacation.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, yeah, people love that. And reaching out to those local attractions not only gives you one more thing to offer your guests, but it creates that relationship with that local vendor who then, if somebody comes to them and does zip lining and talks about camping or needing a place to stay in the area, then it's kind of a two-way street between both of you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this county has a whole lot to offer. There's canoe liveries. There's 2 of them. There's a huge zip line. There's other parks and adventures for folks to be able to go on. So, I really would love to see folks lengthen their stay, not only selfishly, so we have them here at our campground, but also too, so they can extend their vacation and be able to do the full week with us and be able to have a number of different things they can do either on property or off property and keep the family together.
that's really kind of vital to just not just your property, but then all of the businesses in your area, and economically so supportive. I love to see it. It's always the top thing I say is partner with as many as you can. So yeah, glad to see you guys are definitely already doing that. I mean, it makes sense since you clearly already have existing operational partnerships there. But yeah, it's fabulous.
Yeah, we were a little late getting into it this year because of our opening time being a little later. But, we have a concierge desk set up in our welcome center. So hopefully as we move forward, we can, at least be able to offer folks more opportunity to do things around the area. And this area is filled with a lot of fun stuff for families to do.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So are you like bookings? Is it crazy busy, reservations flowing in?
We just we went through a crazy reservation time. We just had our media opening 3 weeks ago. So once it was announced that we were open, we had quite a frenzy of reservation activity. Most of our weekends got booked up very quickly through Labor Day. And then, we do have some openings during the week, but most of our cottages, in all honesty, went very quickly. I was laughing as I said, it's almost like having the Jimmy Buffett concert. In the first 15 minutes, it was like, zoop, and here we go. It's gone. But looking forward, I don't think folks realize too that we're open year round. So we're really trying to get that message out too as well, because our weekends are going to be very busy. And I really think there's a lot to do midweek too, especially for those folks that don't have kids in school that travel around in the fall, because I think this place is going to be beautiful in the fall too as well. And love to see folks get signed up for that.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think Labor Day is the problem. We just need to move that holiday back about 8 weeks or so.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Because I mean, the campfires will smell so much better in the fall when the weather gets a little bit more crisp. I do have to say, the campers, when you drive around, they're always saying, "Hey, you want to stop and have a hot dog or whatever." I think, our staff has been overwhelmed with the kindness of the folks, of the campers that have been here. That when they see you walking by, they invite you over for a drink or for a marshmallow or whatever. So it's been a great experience for the staff here so far too. They've been great.
I bet. Yeah, I have to say, one of the most rewarding parts for me in the years I owned a park was that dynamic where your guests are there having a great time, so they have this positive aura about them, and they're happy to be there. And so it was my favorite part. I'm glad you're enjoying that already.
It's like neighborly, yeah. They may not know the person next to them when they first get there, but they, eventually you see the picnic tables going together, and, they're all out there sitting together by the fireplaces, the fire pits, and, they strike up a conversation, and next thing you know, they're talking about next year already, and when can they come back, and will you guys come back? And, that to me has been fascinating to watch that happen. So really, really nice guests that we've had here in the past 3 weeks.
Awesome.
Yeah, we find that throughout the whole campground industry. And I don't know, I do know what it is. It's more the nature of the outdoor experience, like the types of people who are coming and stuff like that. And I don't know, right, the nitty gritty of the psychology behind all that, but you'll definitely continue to see that, I think, as you go forward. It's just kind of a more open, welcoming, friendly atmosphere.
Yeah, I think that, plus I didn't realize that some of these campers are, I call it moving houses. These rigs are huge. And when they all get their sides and everything out, I think it's bigger than the first apartment I had when I got married. So they're huge. Yeah. And the luxury items that they have inside of those are, it's phenomenal to me. The beds, the chairs, the outdoor cooking areas that they have. It's like bringing your house on a camping adventure across the United States. So, but there's been some huge big rigs here too as well. And again, we're learning where the best campsites for those are, because, they take up a little bit more room versus a normal size camper or a fifth wheel. So again, I've learned a lot about camping and campers in the past several months. It's been enjoyable getting to know the different sizes and how to make sure everybody's getting to the right spot.
Now you bring up a good point, because we, obviously Cara and I being in the industry and talking to so many different people, there are a lot of educational resources that are available in this industry. I mean, we've got ARVIC, which is the National Association here in the United States. Cara works for the Canadian Camping and RV Council, which is the national association for the whole country of Canada. There are Facebook groups and things that we've covered before, and shows that are about education specifically. So walk us through a little bit about, like, Terrie, you're brand new to this industry. As you admit, you've said you've never gone camping prior to this. What was your learning process as you kind of work toward understanding more of these things? And I know it's ongoing, but what have you done so far?
It's been a great deal of time working with our folks from Cedar Point, their management team, being able to go up and look at those facilities as well as the other facilities we have within the company, and also then doing the online internet research and just taking a look at what's out there, what's being offered at some of the more luxury type campgrounds, and how can we improve upon that, or I don't want to say borrow indefinitely, but get some of the ideas that are being successful for other people too as well. And again, like you said, there's lots of organizations that have reached out to talk to us, to walk us through some of their ideas and suggestions too as well. So just trying to use as many resources as fast as we can to make sure that we're providing a great experience from our guests. But I have to tell you, I think the biggest resource for me has been watching the guests come in, talking to them. If they like something, they'll tell you. If they don't like something, they'll tell you. And being able to see how, it looks really good on paper, how people are going to come in and use your facility. It's different when they actually use your facility and you see that, you can make a few tweaks and changes that'll make things better. So I think the biggest resource, again, that I've had has just been listening to those users on what works for them and what doesn't.
Yeah, and that'll continue. That's an ever-evolving thing that never ends, right? Because people's trends and appetites and demographics and things change, and what they expect changes. I mean, 20 years ago, nobody expected Wi-Fi. Now everybody does. And so I think you'll continue to adapt with that. I know there's a good camping association, the Ohio Campground Owners Association, if you're not a part of that.
Yep.
That has a lot of useful resources and stuff like that too. So
great ability to network with other operators, and like you said, kind of emulate what they're doing that's been successful for them, and kind of making it your own. That stuff is really valuable.
Right. And also learning too, a lot about events that goes on at campgrounds, because again, not coming from the theme park industry, we always have usually 3 huge events a year, and then the park closes and, off they go. Here, being 365 days a year, I'm learning about decorating RVs and the contests that they have, and the parades that they have, and the golf cart parades and the bike parades, and, all of those things. I'm just feel like a sponge trying to figure out how do we get these executed for this fall and have some fun with our guests that are here, so that we're meeting their expectations or hopefully exceeding their expectations with some fun things that they can actually get involved with and help with the entertainment of all the guests that are here. The lights that I've seen on the campers at night driving through here are phenomenal. They're just beautiful. And folks have, the signs they have out, and the big American flags that are on top of the campers. It's phenomenal to go through and see how much decor each one of the RV folks have taken. And then again, our guests that are in cottages, let's not forget about them, because they also will decorate for a birthday, or they'll decorate the front of them for anniversaries, or, just big family events. So we're learning a lot from that too as well. And hopefully we'll kick some fun into some contests and be able to entertain them in a whole different way than we have in the past.
Absolutely. Yeah. How many RV sites are there?
We have 164 RV sites, and we have pull-through sites as well as back-in sites. And we have learned that the pull-through sites that are next to the pool are the hot item. Everybody wants to be sites by the pool. So, it's interesting to
double your prices on those, right?
No, but we do know that those sites can accommodate some of the bigger rigs. So again, being able to put more information on our website, we're learning so that the campers, when they are picking those sites, know a little bit more about what can accommodate their size rigs a little bit better too, as well, as something that I learned really quickly the first week. So
yeah, well, I'll say it's typically, I mentioned earlier that it's rare for parks to allow guests to pick. And that's usually the reason is there's often logistical variables that impact who can kind of go where and things like that. But if you can balance those two things out and have the best of both worlds, I really think that's really valuable.
Yeah, and we've had some folks that have come and just, since they have the really big rigs, they've come and just kind of checked out our campground ahead of time just to take a look to see, what would be best for them, and then how can we, get them into that site so that, it meets their needs and their families' needs too as well. All of our sites have fire pits, whether they're wood fire pits or propane fire pits, and I've also learned too that, I thought that the propane fire pits would be the preference, because for me, you turn the fire pit on, voila, and then you turn it off. No, they really do like burning the wood, and they really do like having the full campfire. So we do both, but again, the learning has been great too, from that aspect.
How many staff do you have, and are you having staffing issues like a lot of parks we're hearing from?
At our peak staff, we were a little over 150 staff members here. Again, because we have our own laundry facilities here, and our own maintenance teams, our own landscaping teams, folks that are taking care for us, as well as, food and beverage and the aquatics team, because we do have lifeguards at our pools, and the 2 bars and Lee Street. So we staffed up pretty well. We are going to see a little bit of a shortage moving into the fall, just because most of our students are high school and college students right now. So we're restaffing a little bit, and hopefully we'll get them back for next year. So we're hopefully, see them through their high school and college years is the key. But, I have to credit them a lot for hanging in there with us while we didn't get open. And the number one compliment that we've gotten out of everything is that our staff has been so friendly and so helpful to the guests. And, to me, that make sure the service standards stay high is extremely important. So we just got our surveys out for our guests last week, and I thought, gosh, how many people will really answer them? My email got flooded with guests that were giving us comments and compliments and a few tips of things they'd like to see. So it's exciting to see people that will fill out the survey and take the time to actually add comments. That's more helpful than anything.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And sometimes it can be pulling teeth. The happy guests, I find it's harder to get them to respond. So that's great to hear that they're engaged like that.
Right. They're very much engaged and very much helpful, even up to the point where you should put the pool towels, because we do pool towel service at both of our pools. The towels will be better over to the right, 14 feet. It's like, you're right. That would make a whole lot more sense. But so it's really good to listen to them, and they're the users.
You actually had a guest. You actually had a guest measure 14 feet and say
he estimated. He said about 14 feet, and when I went to look at it, it was better in that spot because it was closer to the exit, of the pool. So it's a matter of being able to, grab a clean one when he went into the shower and throw the towel in the other, and without, stepping back out into the sun. And I was like, well, you're right. So we moved it, and hopefully it's in a better spot right now. But just small attentions to details that folks have taken with us has been good.
Yeah, sometimes I think when we're in our planning phases, it's hard to put ourselves in their shoes because we're not getting in the pool and in the shower and all of those things, right? We're not going through those logistical step-by-step things that they're experiencing. So yeah, that feedback is so valuable.
Yeah, I know when I first read that, the same thing as what you just said, Brian. It's kind of like, can it really be that much of a difference? Well, it is if you got the 2 kids that he had with him that he was carrying, and pulling a wagon behind him, and he had to then go back out to get the test. So it really did make sense. So we made the change. So hopefully it'll be the same for everybody now.
Yeah, well, and sometimes those really simple changes are the most beneficial. Like, you can really change a guest's perception of your service levels with those basic things that don't cost anything and are simple, easy changes. And
right. Well, we really want to be known for our service. It is a luxury resort, and that's what we have on our sign, and that's what we tout. So we really do need to make sure that we're providing that level of service for our guests and being able to accommodate them as best we possibly can. So that's one of our big goals is to make sure that they get everything they need so they can come back and enjoy us again for many years to come.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and she is right. Like Cara's right. Like it's the big things. Obviously, they're coming in, they're seeing the cabins and the amenities and the water park and the wave pool or not the wave pool, but the pool and all those things in the store. But it's also the small things that really make a memorable experience. And so whether that's moving the towels or having the little luxury soaps that are better than the 5-cent ones that you can get in bulk, those things actually make more of an impact than people realize, I think.
And you know what? We have some game tables inside of the lodge, and we've had some really mean games of pinochle going on. We've had some pretty serious tic-tac-toe and checker games going on in there. So it's just fun to see families, getting back to enjoying spending time with families. And the other thing I've noticed is that you don't see folks like me right now with laptops out and working. I've really found that people are disconnecting when they're here. Maybe they're connecting when they get back into their RVs and I'm just not seeing it, but we're not seeing folks out working on patios. We see folks actually spending time with family. And I think that's extremely important. And I'm really glad to see it.
Terrie, there's a really easy way to test that. When you're done with the show, just flip the off switch to the Wi-Fi and see how many complaints you get.
Yeah, that'll happen really quickly. I think more from the phone usage. But I was just surprised that you're in the pool and Dad Mom can get some work done on the laptop, and I've seen that in other places. I just haven't seen that here yet. So that's exciting to see that folks are actually taking time to spend quality time with the family. Maybe they're not doing it when they get back in the RVs, but they are when they're out and about.
Yeah,
I think it's a good mix, and I wonder if it's partly due, obviously it depends on the type of the campground and the type of people who are coming and the demographics and all those kinds of things. But I wonder if it's because of your location too, because being so close in proximity to Kings Island, people are planning more of a vacation than traveling from one campground to another.
It could be the time of year too. You're right. It could be this is more vacation time. So perhaps this fall, I'll see a few more of the folks that are doing both, because kids will be in school then and be traveling perhaps, so maybe we'll see a few more doing that. But I was just excited to see folks actually spending doing the crazy thing, the 3-legged races and the balloon toss that turned into a balloon fight pretty much every afternoon about 4:00, with kids being able to whack Mom and Dad with a water balloon. It just seemed like more family fun than seeing folks out with on their iPhones every 5 seconds and having their computers out. So that's exciting to see.
Well, I think, you mentioned the games and your entertainment staff and those kinds of things. I think that really facilitates that disconnection that maybe we don't see in parks who don't have the resources to offer stuff like that, because, we don't often seek out a 3-legged race on our own. But if it's there and ready and good to go and there's a bunch of other people engaged, right? So there's maybe a level of distraction, or there's so much to do. I'm not gonna, be sucked into my phone or my laptop right now. I can focus elsewhere.
I think it's that, and I think we're seeing some large families come, in groups of 8, 10, 12 people. So it looks as though people are meeting up here, maybe 2 families together, or again, like the grandparents and just being able to get together more than what they have in the past. So I'm hoping that continues and that people are able to get outside a little bit more, because I think we've all been cooped up way too long, that's for sure.
So we have about 10 minutes left. I just want to flip this really quick to winter camping, right? And obviously we've talked that you've made the decision to do that and you're looking for activities and things to plan. What are some of the things that, made you want to stay open to begin with, but some of the things that you feel like can draw campers there when Kings Island is closed, for example?
I think having the 73 cottages and then eventually, hopefully 173 cottages, and then being able to have the lodge too as well, so that folks can actually feel like they can get away for a weekend getaway in the middle of the winter and not be trapped. Be able to, have dinner almost, I don't want to say like a country club, but you could come up and have dinner and still be able to go and feel like you've been away from home for the weekend without driving out of state. I also think the other thing that we're going to look at doing is there are some companies that are around the local area that are looking for something different than going to a hotel to host maybe some of the meetings that they haven't been able to do over the past year as well. So if we can transform a section of our our lodge into where they could do some meeting space, and then they could also have, dinner there too as well. We have a huge outdoor patio area too that, if we wanted to, we could, tent it in and heat it too as well to do extracurricular activities, outside. We've had requests for wedding receptions and weddings to actually be held here that I haven't stuck my toe in the water in yet, but also could be something that we might take a look at in the future. So I think we want to know what kind of demand we would have in the winter months and how we can get folks to do something besides go south for the winter, stay in Mason for the winter and enjoy a weekend away from the kids, or enjoy a weekend, away for a special occasion and be able to come stay with us. So we have to figure out what all those activities are going to be. Once we figure out that, then I think we'll be able to market to those folks and be able to get them out of the house when it's snowing outside.
Yeah.
Just need a way to stay warm between the cabin walk to the lodge walk. So I don't know how that accomplishes in Ohio yet. I lived in Ohio my whole life, so it gets cold.
You can't be outside for 5 minutes.
No, it's cold. Like, I'm a baby.
Lots of hot chocolate. That's all I got to say. Lots of hot chocolate, and being able to come into the lodge and get warmed up by the big fireplace and be able to enjoy some family time away from home. Hopefully we'll be able to draw some folks and figure out what the activities will be and be able to promote that on our website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's extending those operating dates outside of just summer is so vital to, frankly, bottom lines. And so I think it also really helps kind of expand your guests' experiences of you, because each season that they come, they can kind of do different things, so that it expands that draw to a guest to come multiple times, which is really valuable to me.
Yeah, I think you're right. If we can stay in their minds year round versus just, being the summer activity for them, then hopefully we can create some family traditions and folks will come back and return and make us part of, their vacation plans, and also maybe a date night out with mom and dad in the wintertime kind of activity to also be able to enjoy the wintertime too as well.
Yeah, no, I think.
Well, I'm glad to see people like trying to pioneer this area, because I feel like there is a demand for it. I feel like that most campgrounds traditionally are just default, like I'm in Ohio or North or wherever, right? And it's just my time of year to close. And there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lack of research in the industry because there's so few people who've done it before, that, like, you're right, you're going to have to figure it out as you go. But I think people like you who are setting that precedent and exploring and innovating and willing to take risks are going to maybe open it up to a broader swath of people who will try it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think this has to be the right time to do it coming out of the COVID era and folks, wanting to get out and explore and do different things. But also, you're in your own cottage. So you're not really out, in a hotel and mixing with people, as much as you would if you went to a place like that. So we're hoping to be able to get some of those folks who want to experience getting away, but really are still, kind of thinking, maybe I just want my family together. Hopefully be able to get some of those folks to be able to enjoy a weekend away.
Yeah, no, I think that's incredibly valuable. There's definitely still an appetite. Well, maybe I'm speaking for Canadians specifically, but certainly still an appetite to kind of cautiously ease out of this stuff. So, I definitely think there's a market.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, please.
Theme park business, pretty much they're open from March. Kings Island is pretty much open from late March through the end of the year. And so they've expanded, their opportunity to use their property more. And so hopefully, we can kick off of that too as well, and have guests here in January and February. And then, that'll also help our booking season too as well, get everything booked up for the following year. So.
Well, I don't know. I don't think I have any more questions. We got about 4 minutes left. Terrie, do you just want to wrap it up and give us maybe, what your hopes are for the future for Camp Cedar? Where you, like, if you had your perfect ideal situation, where would it be in a couple years down the road?
I think we're looking forward to getting everything landscaped the way we would like to have it, to really go through and make this, more of a theme park look and feel when you look at the landscaping, the beautiful landscaping. You know that Cedar Fair does a great job with that. And also then be able to, increase our cottages, get the other 100 in and get them into the wooded sites and get them incorporated. And then, we really would love to increase our activities and our space so that, I don't know if 2 pools is enough. Is it 3 pools? Like, do we need to expand more for the teen market than we have right now? Do we need to add pickleball courts and basketball courts and, other activities? Somebody told me about a Gaga the other day that I've never seen before. And now, I've been all over the internet trying to figure out how to create, the Gaga courts, if that's something that the tweens and teens like to do. So I think we need, again, listening to our customers and what they would like to see, go about making sure that when we plan the next phases, the phase 2, 3, and 4, that we incorporate some of the wishes that our guests have, where it financially makes sense, but also be able to, be a little bit more creative with, how we incorporate that. And, we're always going to be in partnership with Kings Island. I think also being able to work with them on, group business. If they have a group staying there, then, can we, know who that is and also market to those groups too as well to stay here with us. So lots of opportunities down the road. We have a big wish book full of, things that we'd like to see and add on to. And the owners of this property are very, very much listening to that. They've been looking at, different ways to help us with the off season, as we call it, where it's not the pool season and we have a huge, big property here. And how can we maximize that and maybe do things a little bit differently than what other people have done in the past. So it's nice to be in a think tank. It's nice to get all of those things together and then be able to move forward. So, I guess for the future, I'd just really love to see families continue to expand and enjoy the RVs. I now have my husband talking about buying one for when we retire in a few years and traveling across the country. So by then I should really know which one to buy and which one that we want to be able to move into and do a little traveling ourselves. So, but I think also too, just being able to have our employees enjoy what they're doing, being able to entertain guests and growing up in this and being able to take care of people and have them have a good time is probably something that is really, really important to me.
Yeah, and I think you'll find, and one of the reasons I brought up earlier, you were talking about the Gaga ball pit too, like researching that and figuring out how to build one. There are actually vendors and suppliers who service specifically the campground industry. There's a company who builds Gaga ball pits.
I saw that.
Yeah. And so that's why I brought up the Ohio Camping Association or Campground Owners Association. They have a conference every March. I think it got canceled last couple of years because of COVID, but it should come back in March. And then like the National Association of RV Parks and Campgrounds has a convention coming up here in North Carolina in November. That has, they'll have a trade show with all those vendors who will have their stuff set up, and you can walk around and talk to them and see them and get ideas and brainstorm for the park. And so I don't know if your owners are willing to send you to that, but it might be very useful for you.
Really valuable.
Yeah, I mean,
really did.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that before. And I've had teen kids before. I'm like, where has that gone? I've seen the spike ball and I've seen the new 4-sided volleyball kind of thing that's going on. But they said Gaga ball. And I said, I know Lady Gaga, but I don't know about a Gaga ball. So jumped into that. I think it was even day before yesterday. So we're researching that too as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I recommend it. My kids are big fans.
All right, well, I think we're almost out of time here. Thank you guys. Really appreciate you joining me. Terrie, showing us around Camp Cedar. Really appreciate everybody watching us again. Longevity of the show here, where it's on podcast platforms, Google, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to stack up the audience here and hopefully get some more interest in Camp Cedar. But just some really valuable knowledge, like hearing the perspective of somebody who's come from outside the industry, giving that fresh kind of like, I'm listening to my guests and hearing different things that maybe people who have been in here for 10, 20 years are not thinking of in the same type of way has really been, I think, valuable for everybody here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very refreshing to see. I'm so excited about Camp Cedar. I am putting it on my bucket list.
Great. We'd like to be on your bucket list. Let me know when you're coming down. We'd love to have you. Thanks for having us. We'd love to see a lot of folks come and enjoy us.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, have a great day.
Or no, we're off next week, but we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes.
All right.